Alright, welcome back to another Art of War 3 replay. I'm your host, John Cena, and today we're going to be doing a clan 2v2 battle. I'm going to be the green Confederate player, and my ally, Bullet 82 MK2, is going to be the blue Confederate player. So let's go and get into it. We're going to be facing off against two resistance players on this map. And we can see some early aggression unfolding from the red player. They send in some coyotes to harass Bullet. Looks like Bullet is able to take care of those coyotes pretty well though. Meanwhile, I'm getting some deltas out to secure resources on the water here. This is a primarily naval map here, so I'm going to be going for a primarily naval build here of Vikings. You can see that yellow is starting to get some alligators out on the battlefield, so we're going to go ahead and upgrade our shipyards here. I've got double shipyards going for double production of Vikings. There's two gators so far from the yellow player, so I'm going to need to do a little bit of catch up here just so I can get those numbers up for the Vikings. So I asked Bullet to get a scout onto red and yellow just to see what they're up to. And it looks like Bullet is going to get a scout on red and yellow. We can see that yellow is very well developed and red is pretty poorly developed. So looks like red's going for a camping strategy, laying down a bunch of mines, but it's not very well developed in the infrastructure. So we're anticipating right now that red shouldn't be too much of an issue. Here comes the first gator from yellow though. Yellow trying to secure that large resource container. And I actually didn't want to move on to the container first. I wanted yellow to move on to it first. Here comes yellow though, coming in with those gators. I'm going to throw on a gold naval attack boost, and we're going to get into our first major naval engagement of the game. You can see here that with the gold boost, I'm able to dish out some good damage against these gators. Bullet, meanwhile, is harassing the red player with his vertex. My Vikings are continuing to clean up these gators very nicely. I've got naval supremacy on the battlefield, and Bullet is over here just absolutely bullying the red player. We can see red's down to 2 supply centers. Meanwhile, my Vikings are cleaning up the rest of these gators very nicely. So gators have been taken care of. We see another gator coming out, and that gator is going to go ahead and retreat. I'm not going to push an assault just yet though. Bullet's got some good ground troops here, just doing some light skirmishes with red's ground troops. Red's trying to push an assault here, but red does not have the numbers or firepower to punch through, and red's just going to have to retreat. So Bullet is in the middle of teching up. I'm just in the middle of building up my count for the Vikings. Meanwhile, Bullet just continuing to bully the red player here. Red's got 3 supply centers, is still HQ2. We're already 12 minutes into the game. This is not looking good for red at all. Red just lost a supply center. Meanwhile, yellow is continuing to pump out gators and has a very well developed base. And we can see those gators providing some good anti-air support, and it's going to take out one of the vertex from Bullet. I'm teching up to HQ4 at this time. I'm almost at full command points on the water. So, again, Bullet looks like still continuing to just bully the red player. Takes out a couple anti-air towers. Red's now got 5 supply centers, but really doesn't have any ground army. He's still HQ2 at this time. That anti-air from yellow is going to take out a vertex though, so Bullet's got to be a little bit careful with the vertex. Bullet's doing a good job with the micro. It's going to take out a power plant before retreating. So we're just continuing to accumulate resources, and we're just kind of getting ourselves pretty set. Looks like there's some mines in front of red's base, as we suspected earlier. Looks like Bullet is going for the attack on the naval shipyard. It's going to clean up a shipyard. It's going to cost some of the vertex there. And it looks like Bullet is going to tell me to commit to an assault here. I'm going to wait to capture this resource container, I think. Or actually, it looks like I'm not waiting for the resource container. I'm going to go ahead and attack. Bullet's vertex all got taken out, unfortunately, so it's going to be up to me now. Here we go. Second major naval engagement of the battle unfolding. I've got a huge number of Vikings. I've maxed out command points for HQ3. And it looks like my Vikings are getting cleaned up pretty quickly, but so are the gators from yellow. I've got the naval supremacy. My Vikings are outpowering these gators, but yellow's got the aviation support with the hawks, and it looks like with this assault, I am not going to be able to press an assault onto the production for the yellow player. I've been able to reset the army count though for yellow, so that is going to buy us some time. Vertex coming in for Bullet. They're going to provide some fire onto that shipyard. Let's see if Bullet can take it out. He scores another hit on the shipyard. And he's coming in for one last hit. And it looks like he's going to miss. And Bullet is going to have to retreat. Meanwhile, I'm just continuing to pump out Vikings. We saw there earlier that the yellow player has 3 shipyards. So I'm going to need to be able to take out the gators faster than yellow can produce them. I'm fighting for this container right now. Meanwhile, Bullet is making a push onto the red player. Red has finally gone HQ3 after almost 20 minutes into the game. And we can see that Red is trying to spam Grenadiers and Porcupines. These Hawks now are dishing out some good damage against my Vikings. Bullet now trying to see if he can finish off the red player here. Those hammer tanks moving around the back of the base there to dish out damage. Looks like Bullet is unable to keep his units covered though from these Hawks that are dishing out some good damage. So Bullet's not going to be able to break the assault at this time on the red player. I've been able to secure more resources on the water, and that's going to help me with rebuilding my navy. Vertex coming in, they're going to score a nice hit onto a couple buildings there for the red player. So Red just struggling with this aviation. Another anti-air tower gets taken out. And another anti-air tower gets taken out. Bullet is doing a good job here with the micro and is able to dish out damage effectively against Red. And Red is going to lose another anti-air tower. It's going to cost Bullet a Vertex there. Bullet is now dishing out damage against the power plant. Is going to take out the power plant. And we can see Red is once again still struggling to get off the ground. So the Vertex are going to score some hits on some infantry, and then they're going to pull back. Meanwhile, I'm just continuing to rebuild my Viking count. I'm going for a triple naval shipyard build, just so I can catch up with the yellow player and stay on par with them. So we can see that I'm also continuing to drop down some defensive buildings. We've got a couple anti-air towers just in case yellow decides to attack with Hawks. And I'm going to move my Vikings a little bit closer to the yellow player. Yellow sees my Vikings and is going to score some hits with those Hawks. Hawks are dishing good damage, but here comes the Vertex from Bullet. Bullet is going to score some nice hits on those Hawks. Yellow is taking some heavy casualties there from Bullet. We can see that Yellow's also got their Gators in a line as well. And so I'm going to have to continue to expand my line of Vikings. I'm almost at full command points here. So we can see Hawks flying around my base here. They're going to take out a power plant, but that is a lot of damage on the Hawks. I don't think that trade-off was worth it. So Vertex are going to have to pull back though. They can't go into the anti-air from the Gators. And I've got my Vikings just about ready to go here. So here we go. Our third major naval engagement of the battle. Let's see how this plays out. We can see that Yellow is outnumbered and outgunned on the water. A couple Vikings there being pulled towards the red player, but the bulk of my Vikings are making the push onto the yellow player. Yellow's in trouble on the water. They are running out of Gators fast. These Hawks are desperately trying to take out the Vikings and dish out as much damage as possible. Yellow is still trying to produce Gators on the water. Here come the Vertex from Bullet. Bullet's going to score some nice hits on the Hawks. Now I've got about 4 Vikings left here, making a push onto Yellow. We're going to be able to take out some of the infrastructure now. So we're starting to get into the production. This is going to set the yellow player back. We can see Yellow has already gone HQ5. So we know that they're ahead in terms of the development and command points. So I was able to take out 2 naval shipyards and most of Yellow's navy. Yellow's down to 1 Gator right now, so this is actually really good news. We've still got 3 shipyards on our side, and I'm going to be able to pump out these Vikings faster than Yellow is going to be able to replace their Gators. So we can see that Bullet is now harassing Red once again, but it looks like those Hawks score a deadly hit on the Vertex, and the Vertex get cleaned up by the yellow player. So Yellow scoring some really nice hits now onto Bullet's ground army. Bullet's ground army is going to need to retreat. They don't have any anti-air to cover them. So we see some Zeus tanks and infantry in the mix. And we can see that Bullet is now starting to go for some Thors. And is going to use the Thors to score some bombing runs onto the yellow player. So now, here's my 4th attack here. Big naval engagement unfolding once again. And we can see that Yellow is severely outnumbered on the water. Is still putting up a good fight though with those Hawks. that yellow is able to drop down a torpedo platform and rebuild those shipyards. But it's not going to be enough. I have a ton of Vikings coming after the yellow player. Even these Hawks dishing out damage against the Vikings is not going to be enough. And I'm going to be able to close the distance here. And we can see that we're getting to the front entrance of the yellow player's base. Our primary target here is going to be that level 5 headquarters. Here comes Bullet, scoring some hits onto the airfield, and that's going to be helpful as the battle draws on. We're going to be able to harass those Hawks. These Vikings now cleaning up the last bit of Yellow's navy, and Yellow has now lost all of their naval presence. Scoring another hit onto the airfield is the Vertex. They're going to take out 2 airfields for the yellow player. This is going to heavily delay the yellow player's ability to mass produce aviation. These Hawks are going to clean up the rest of my Vikings though, but now we're going to switch strategies here with our build, and we can see that yellow's still trying to go for the naval build here, but at this point I've got 3 Vikings on the water. We're going to be able to take out those shipyards. No problem at all. We see a torpedo platform coming down. Thor's coming in for Bullet. They're going to score a direct hit on the airfield and take out a bunch of Hawks. Looks like that airfield's very heavily damaged as well. So now I'm just continuing to amass Vikings at the yellow player's base. My Vikings are making a push onto the yellow player. Yellow's in trouble here. They're about to lose that last shipyard. And it looks like Hawks are coming in to dish out damage, but it's not going to be enough. Shipyard is going to go down. Meanwhile, we see a ground army from Red moving in onto my base. They're going to take out my Delta that I left there as a scout. And now Yellow is fully out of naval units, and we're now starting to make a push onto the main part of Yellow's base. So Red's going to try and counterattack. So this is a move I predicted. So I've got 3 rocket towers and 3 bunkers in place. I've got a couple tanks as well, but I don't think the tanks are going to be that useful because my towers are doing plenty. Bolt's going to come in with the Vertex support as well, and between the defensive buildings and the jets, Red's army is getting absolutely shredded, and it's not looking good for Red. Meanwhile, I've got 4 Vikings at the front entrance of Yellow's base. Yellow desperately is trying to defend the front entrance. These Vertex are just cleaning up Red's ground troops, and Red is not going to be able to make any kind of attack on me whatsoever. We can see I'm continuing to just produce Vikings and send them straight to the yellow player's base. So the plan here at this point in the battle is that I'm going to continue to produce Vikings to put pressure on the yellow player while Bullet goes on bombing runs to take out the airfields. So yellow is now having to choose between taking out my Vikings to defend the base or using the Hawks to take out the aviation. And yellow is unfortunately in a position where they cannot defend this alone. They need help from their ally, but their ally is just not doing enough right now to help out. So we've only got a couple Vikings left at the water shoreline, but you can see they've got more Vikings coming in. Yellow is desperately trying to produce more airfields, but Bullet is taking out these airfields just as fast as Yellow can build them. And so Yellow is not able to get a meaningful amount of Hawks out to counter my Vikings and take out the aviation. You can see those Hawks are now flying off the battlefield. My Vikings just continuing to dish out damage against these ground units. For those who watch this battle and may be wondering why I did not produce any Poseidons, Poseidons at this point in the battle would have been ideal if they're upgraded, but my Poseidons are stock and do not have any upgrades, and it would have been way too much time to upgrade my structures and to mass produce Poseidons. So Vikings should do the job here though. My Vikings are pretty well upgraded and I can dish out good damage against any ground units that come my way. We can see some Grenadiers trying to fight it out, but it's not going to work out. We see some Hawks from the red player. Red's finally gone for some aviation after almost 40 minutes in the game. Bold's coming in with the Thors once again, scores a direct hit on the airfield, heavily damages it, but doesn't take it out. We've got more Vikings flooding into the area now. Bullet just continuing to harass here very nicely. These airfields are just getting taken out faster than the yellow player can replace them. Meanwhile, my Vikings are continuing to just dish out damage against the ground troops. Bullet's here trying to clean up another airfield. Let's see if he's successful. My Vikings still dish out damage against these Grenadiers. Grenadiers are dishing out steady damage. Looks like another airfield has gone down though. Yellow still continuing to pump out airfields. Another airfield gets crushed by those Thors. Yellow is in big trouble. Yellow does not have anywhere to dock those Hawks. And I'm just continuing to flood in Vikings. Looks like another flight of Thors coming in though. And they're going to score another hit on the airfield. One of those Hawks gets taken out and one of the other Hawks has to redock. So I'm going to be taking out this construction yard here with my Vikings, and that's going to be very crucial. Without that construction yard, Yellow has no way to rebuild any more airfields. More Thors coming in now. They're going to score a hit on that last airfield and take out those Hawks. And it looks like Yellow is all out of Hawks at this point. More Vikings are coming in on my end, but only Red is responding right now at this time, so we're not really seeing any units come from the Yellow player. So at this point, Bullet and I are starting to wonder if the Yellow player has called it quits. So Red's still defending, or attempting to defend, I should say. But it looks like Red has finally gone HQ4. Better late than never, I suppose. And looks like Red's got a very strong economy established, but again, a little bit too late at this point in the game. Yellow's pretty much finished off at this point. Yellow has no ground troops, no aviation. Bullet's coming in with these Thors, and it's going to score some nice hits onto the Red player. And one of those airfields is going to get cleaned up. Bullet's going to send more Thors to clean up the other airfield. I'm continuing to dish out damage against the headquarters here for Yellow. Bullet scores another hit, and with that, Red is going to self-destruct. Alright. So that's pretty much the end of the battle. The rest of it's just Bullet and I doing a little bit of contracts. Hope you all enjoyed this battle. Good luck in your battles. We'll see you in the next one.